you're new to the channel, which is very undoubtedly sadly anyone finds me, please like or subscribe or whatnot, so you and I can get chatting. Okay, because that's what I like to do. Is chat to people. So this is going to be about Wonder Woman and Wonder Woman and Steve Trevor, and there'll be spoilers or potential spoilers ahead. So I'll try and make sure I inform you right before then. Okay. But it's always been up to debate, on Steve Trevor's return. Is it a good thing? Is it a bad thing? Because he died, which then impacted Diana. It still does, and then you have that scene in BVS where she looks back on fond memories, and apparently she's seen him again in '84. So him being back in '84 and then still not being around for the Justice League, it kind of gives some sort of plot away. So it can't be that sort of a spoiler that something's not right here. So the first article I want to go through is Wonder Woman's '84 Steve Trevor's return risks weakening Diana's character. Okay, how Wonder Woman '84 is changing Steve Trevor's Chris Pine could weaken Diana's character because of what it would mean for their dynamic. Now again, this is not what I believe in. These are, of course, the articles. Okay. The decision to change Steve Trevor's Chris Pine for Wonder Woman '84 could inadvertently have a negative impact on the character of Diana Gal Gadot. To avoid ruining the dynamic, the upcoming DCU movie could end up changing both characters, but that would be a mistake. The relationship between American soldier Steve Trevor and Amazon warrior Diana was central to the story of 2017's Wonder Woman. After meeting Steve and travelling with him in the hopes of defeating Ares and stopping the war, they formed a close dynamic. Eventually, the two developed romantically feelings for each other. Unfortunately, their love story came to a tragic end when Steve sacrificed himself in the final battle. Wonder Woman was crushed by the loss of Steve. The sequel, which will move settings from World War One to 1980s, will somehow bring Steve Trevor back to life and reunite him with Diana for an adventure that will involve DC Comics villains Cheetah, Kristen Wiig, and Maxwell Lord Pedro Pascal. Many may appear to be the same as he was. Steve may appear the same as he was in Wonder Woman in terms of age, but he's confirmed to be different in other ways. According to Chris Pine, Wonder Woman '84 Steve Trevor is a complete 180s from the tone of the character from the first one. Pine has also called him wide-eyed and joyful. That truly is a far cry from who he was in Wonder Woman. So what does this mean for the dynamic with Diana in the first movie? It was particularly defined by Steve's world-weary cynicism and Diana's optimism, and the quality of Steve's is taken away. Wonder Woman '84 may look upset by changing Diana as well. If Diana loses her optimistic outlook, Wonder Woman '84 would be able to keep their dynamic intact by simply reversing it. The problem with that is that this would weaken Diana's character in a fundamental way. After all, it was her innocence and faith in humanity that made her such a compelling protagonist and a big part of why Steve liked her. Diana wholeheartedly believed that it was Ares who was responsible for the violence that was taking place in the war, while Steve had a different understanding of what was happening. Since Steve had a cynical view of mankind and the world, the ideas, of course, clashed with Diana's. Steve Trevor's new wide-eyed and joyful attitude suggested things will be different in Wonder Woman '84. But hopefully this doesn't mean Diana will have to change too. A new cynical viewpoint would be out of character for her, and the other solution, which would be to keep her personality the same, could mean that their relationship would lose what made it work so well in the first movie. If Steve Trevor really is going to change that much, that may be unavoidable. If so, Wonder Woman '84 will have to evolve the dynamic and find new ways to keep it interesting. Now, here's the thing, but what if, and we're going to be heading into potential spoilers, okay? And so so you've been warned. Now, if he's coming back different, I'm not talking about Pet Cemetery and like Superman Henry Cavill did, but maybe it's not wholeheartedly Steve Trevor, Now, according to Patty Jenkins, comic book movies should embrace their difference and celebrate the works for them. The Wonder Woman director certainly secured her place in the superhero pantheon. That's partly why fans are so excited to see Jenkins' Wonder Woman 84. Now they may have the answer to one of the biggest mysteries. So after this, potential risks. Okay? Switch off if you don't want to hear a potential spoiler. An unexpected Wonder Woman hero also appears. Following the tremendous success of 2017's Wonder Woman, fans rejoiced about news of a sequel. After all, the first movie's World War One left the story possibilities wide open, and it wasn't long before Wonder Woman 84 became 2020's most anticipated release. That's a good thing. But much to the fans' confusion, the unexpected familiar faces show up in the movie's marketing materials. Despite his heroic death at the end of the first film, Chris Pine's Steve Trevor is alive and kicking in the 1980s with Diana. So far, his return has completely unexplained, but the upcoming novelisation of Wonder Woman 84 might shed some light on how Diana's love has returned from the dead. The release of Wonder Woman 84 has, of course, been delayed, but fans are eager to learn about what to expect when the movie is available. You can dig into a recent piece at Bleeding Cool. The site uncovers some potential spoilers revealed in the novelisation set for publication in the fall of 2020. So the potential spoiler is going to be out there. According to this report, Steve Trevor's resurrection comes courtesy of a mystical artifact called the Runestone. As its name implies, it brings one's dream to life via wish fulfillment, like Diana's lasso of truth. The item carries the power of the gods. After it passes through the museum where Diana works, she uses it to bring Steve's back to life. The object appeared sporadically in DC Comics, but isn't specifically connected to Wonder Woman herself and the source material. Moreover, the movie will reveal the Dreamstone connection to the god of lies, implying a level of deceit behind its powers. Likely its necessarily destruction will mean Steve will once again fade away. Well, fans finally get to see the sequel. Could also the chance of the leak could wind up spoiling Wonder Woman 84 for fans, but there's always the chance the novelisation bears significant difference from the final product. Oftentimes novelisations like this one are based on earlier drafts of a movie script or deliberately altered to retain a particular mystery. So now that actually explains a lot for me, because it's like she's wanting this sort of experience. She's wanting to see some sort of Steve Trevor. She's loved, and that's what every person on the planet would want. And we could always tell ourselves that we already knew that somehow Steve Trevor doesn't make it past this film again, right? Because why would she bother looking back into the past of World War One when she'd just seen him again in 84? But for me, this adds to their dynamic, because Wonder Woman is wanting to love him, and maybe there's something in Steve Trevor that doesn't have that love for her, because maybe it's been brought him back minus that experience that he had with her, and because he's so different, Gal Gadot, then it becomes easier for her to let go of Steve Trevor. She's managed to say that goodbye that she never got to say in the last one, because she couldn't hear what was going on, and Steve Trevor was giving her the love and the watch and everything else. So maybe this is not going to, as the previous article stipulates, it's not going to ruin the dynamic. It's going to look at the two of them in a whole different way. And it's more of a story arc of Wonder Woman, again, trying to fit into a world that is alien to her, trying to experience grief because she's lived on Themyscira. She's not used to that many people, especially somebody that's impacted her life that way, dying. So that gives this film more depth and a more interesting angle, and it furthers her story. And to say this isn't a direct sequel would be wrong. It's a sequel, and it's more of a sequel in Diana's character than anything else, and how to get from point A to point B. And again, we have Zack Snyder, who, he's producing it, he's worked on it, and and I watched Wonder Woman recently, and he has. And when I look at the credits, it said story by Zack Snyder. So all those haters out there that say they don't like Zack Snyder, watch Wonder Woman. It's his baby, as well as Patty Jenkins. Okay, so yeah, get excited. I'm sorry about seeing the spoilers, but I did warn you. But at least for me, that spoiler has made this film more interesting. And for me, if that's the story, it makes the story good. I like the explanation. I like it as using an artifact. I like it. It's nothing. It's no lame excuse just to bring him back because it worked so well in the first one. No, there's a point and there's a reason for this, and it's done well. Well, if you've managed to stick to the end of this video, please let me know what you thought in the comments and likes below. Thanks very much.